Good evening, everyone. Welcome to University of Emerging Technologies Global Internship Program, which focuses on machine learning with Python. So, as you all know, machine learning is a very interesting field. It's not recent technology per se, but with the growth of the internet in the last decade, machine learning has attracted a lot of traction, and we are now seeing the increased use case of machine learning in our day-to-day activities. So it's very essential that we have a knowledge of machine learning so as to stay updated and enhance our career prospects, right? So I hope you all are interested in learning about machine learning. So without wasting much of our time on this and the basic introduction part, let's get started and see what is the agenda that we have today for our session. So we will first start with why should you choose a career in machine learning? We will have an answer to why machine learning is your best bet in case you are looking for a career in IT industry, or why is it something like which will give your career a lot of additional benefits. Then we'll move on to what is unique in University of Emerging Tech's global internship program, which focuses on machine learning and how it is different from our competitors. We will then move on to what product slash projects that you will build. So we all know that machine learning is a very practical field, and making a project in machine learning and putting it on your resume slash CV would actually open a door of opportunities for you. So it's very, very essential that we have some definite projects slash products built in place so that we could actually show our expertise in the field of machine learning. So then we will move on to like the certification details. So as I have already told that this is an internship based program, so we already have a certification in place. So we will discuss on what these certificates will be awarded to our students based on their performance and different categories and different criteria that we have set all together. So this is all about the basic introduction to University of Emerging Tech's global internship program. Once we are done with this, we will then move on to what is machine learning and why should we actually use Python for AI and machine learning. So you all know that we have a plethora of choices of different programming languages like R and JavaScript that we could actually use for machine learning. But why is that Python is the most commonly used programming language for machine learning? So we will have a brief discussion on this as well. Then we will move on to the LMS, which is our learning management system. And we will actually see like how our LMS is different and how will it help you to get organized and have everything in one place. So we will have a look on this as well. After the completion of our LMS, we will have a basic code demo in place. So we will be making a very short application or a very short program using machine learning in Python, where we will like code up a very basic code a very basic machine learning program so as to get to know like what machine learning exactly is and what we can expect in this machine learning course. So it's a very short demo and I will take only 10 minutes of your time. So it's that might be the case that you might not fully understand what we are doing, but since it's a very short demo, so in the interest of time, like we're keeping it short, so we have to manage, but otherwise in our program we would actually have a fully fledged session in place. But this is just to give an idea of what machine learning actually looks like. Then we will actually have a discussion on our class schedule and week-wise plan. So this is a 5-week course and we already have a fixed curriculum in place. So we will discuss on what we'll be discussing on week 1, then on week 2, and so on and so forth. So we have already divided the topics that we need to discuss. So I will give you a brief overview of what topics will be covering in these 4 weeks and 5 weeks in general, 4 weeks for like learning all the concepts, and the 5th week majorly for building projects and like revising our learned concepts and like building some more applications. And at the last, we will have a look at what our enrollment process is. It's very simple, but nevertheless, I will walk you through the steps so as to get enrolled in this program. So I hope you are interested till now, and let's get started. So before we get started, I would like to have a polling session in place so as to get you know better. So this will actually help us to formulate about like our curriculum and better organize this thing. So we will have a polling session in place so that I could get to know you better. So we have 3 questions over here. So you can actually answer these 3 questions, and you have a 15-second time limit. So as soon as 15 seconds is up, we will actually discuss the polling result, and then we can see how we can take up this course further. So your time starts now. Let's wait for 15 seconds for everyone to fill this. So 15 second is already over. I hope everyone has filled this polling session. And I do have the results in place. So as you can see, like how comfortable, like we had 3 questions. The first question was, how comfortable are you with Python programming language? So we have 100% beginners. So I hope we have to keep this pace a little slow, because I understand that maybe you all are new with Python, like Python or maybe programming in general as well. So what that means is that we need to keep keep the pace a little bit slow, and then we could actually move on. But nevertheless, Python is a very beginner friendly language and should not be a lot hard to get started. In fact, Python was my first programming language as well, and I can assure you from my personal experience that compared to other programming language, it's very easy to get started in Python. So even if you're a beginner, don't worry, we are in this together, and I'm certainly sure that by the end of the 5 weeks you will have a good expertise in machine learning and Python in general. The second question is, what is your motive behind taking this machine learning course? So as I can see, 50% are looking for a job change and 50% are looking for learning purposes. So those who are looking for a job change, so again, as I've already mentioned, machine learning is one of the growing industries, and it has actually seen a lot of demand in the recent years. So you are absolutely in the right path, and I certainly hope that this will help you to make career switches. And those who are here for learning purposes, it's always good to know a recent technology. Maybe this can help you somewhere down the line in near future or whatsoever. So it's always good that we should keep learning, and I appreciate you for this. And our third question was, what do you think is the correct ratio between theory and projects? So a lot of people, I mean, everyone over here has actually predicted that it's 40% theory and 60% practical. And this is what I believe in as well. I know it's all about obviously theory is very essential in machine learning, but what matters is what you could show to your recruiters and the persons while you're looking for a job change. So project is no one will ask you the theory behind machine learning. Yes, that can be asked in interviews in general, but to get shortlisted, you would actually need good projects in there. So, and a project by using projects would actually better understand the concept. So it's always a good choice. So I appreciate you for choosing this option, because this is my personal preference as well. So we'll be using 40% theory and 60% practical. So this is good. So let's move on to our next slide. So our next slide is what's unique in this program and how University of Emerging Technologies Global Internship Program, which focuses on machine learning with Python, is different from its competitors. So what happens is the trainings are being done by industry experts. So all our courses, whether it's the machine learning program or maybe Python essential programs or whatever that is, so these courses are actually taken by industry experts along with the TS who have years of experience combined. So what that means is you are absolutely in safe hands. So there is nothing to worry about, and with all the experience in place comes good advices as well. So you can be quite sure that at the end of the 5 weeks or whatever your program duration is, you could being mentored by industry veterans and industry experts, you will have a good grasp on this subject. Then the second point is that we focus on real life projects. like as I've already mentioned, like my personal preference is already like more on building projects than theory, because the first thing first is that it actually like helps you to simulate the learned concept better. Second thing is that it like actually helps you to get some calls if you're looking for job change and your personal projects. You could put this in your GitHub, like contribute to open source and like get some good traction on your profiles. And the third point is that like a working program in the end, or a working real life project in the end, will always give you a joy, because this is what like maybe engineers in general, or maybe like everyone in general, like whoever is in software developer field is like developing a program in the end. So real life projects always help you to get like started, right? The third point is that no coding experience is required, no prior coding experience is required. Yes, like as we have already conducted our polls and saw that we have 100% beginners level rate. So like it might be the case that either people are not familiar with programming language, like Python in our case, or maybe not, they are not familiar with machine learning in general. So we try our best to start from scratch, and we do that as well. So with a little bit of like hard work from your end and our end as well, we could actually make this work. And as I've already said that for this particular course, Python, we will be using Python, and it's a very beginner friendly language, and it's very easy to get started. So you don't need to worry about this, and we will anyhow make it work. Then we also do have a career prep support in place. So what that means is we do have an academic counselor, like University of Emerging Technologies have academic counselor in place who can help you with all your career aspirations. They do conduct interview sessions, and interview sessions as in how to present yourself, how to get calls, and all of that kind of thing. So there is a career mentor in place, like who will actually help you to get started with your career. I mean, who will actually help you in the program, like while we are in the program, who will actually help you to get the desired result of what you're trying to achieve in your program, not academically, but like by providing you with the necessary details or necessary support that you might require in your career preparation. Then the fifth advantage is that we have personalized machines in place. So personal machines are cloud desktops. So like we have not discussed about our learning management system yet, but in our learning management system, we have something called personalized machines. So what personalized machine means is that you do have machines set up in place. So machines as in like the operating system, the code editors, that is the IDEs, the libraries required, everything is set up in place. So you don't need to actually like worry about like setting your library or thinking about, okay, this thing is not working on my system, but this was working on my instructor systems and something of that sort. So like this is something that everyone gets to have a hand on. That is, everyone has the equal system in place. So let's suppose we have an Ubuntu system. So everyone has an Ubuntu system with the exact same configuration in place. So everyone is on the same level, and like you don't have to worry about the logistics part, like installing the libraries and all of that kind. So a very good thing if you are not comfortable like in installing libraries. And I can very well understand, because like while you're installing libraries in machine learning in general, you might get a lot of errors because you don't have there are some prerequisite in place for installing a library. So if if you don't have that prerequisite, so maybe you might get an error, and it can be very frustrating to debug the error, particularly if you are a beginner in programming. So like you will be saved from all of these headaches if you use personalized machines. And the last point, we have a live support in place as well. So live support as in we have a discussion group on our learning management system, and we do have a Telegram group. So all of our TAs are active in this group, and our TAs will respond to your question like in half an hour or so. So like even if you are stuck, you can actually put up your question in the discussion forum or in the Telegram group, and like our TAs, and like if you are facing any other issue, I mean related to some like technical issue related to maybe related to something else, so there is a live support in place which can help you with all of the required queries. So I can assure you that you don't have to like worry about anything if you are stuck, and everything will be sorted out in the required time frame, that is as soon as possible. So this is what sets us apart from our competitors, and not a lot of them have all of these things in place, but we do have, and I guess if taken a good advantage of all of these concepts, like all of these features, like you could actually like have a lot of benefits. So again, like this is a very brief comparison on how UAT is different from its competitors. So our competitors actually use traditional way of learning, and what that means, I've already told you, is that like you need to set up your system and all of that, have the headache, like okay, this is not working. Like then some people have this query, okay, like this works on Windows, will this work on Mac, will this work on Ubuntu? And this is a like a very general query that I do receive day in and day out, because again, like different operating systems have different configurations in place. But with UAT, you don't have to worry about that, because all of like us, like who are using personalized machines, have like definite concepts, and I mean definite configurations in place. So no need to worry about that, and you can get started right away without worrying about anything else. Then our computers works on fixed modules. What that means is like they actually use the curriculum is already fixed for that, and they might have not updated it like more recently. Like it can happen that maybe they have built their course in 2017 or 18, but in 3 years there have been a lot of like improvements. So in like if I'm talking about machine learning, so what happens is that day in and day out, like there are research papers in place that are like building upon nowadays. So coming out nowadays, so it's a like a ever changing field. So working on fixed modules will mean that you don't stay updated with your learning. No doubt you could actually learn, and you could actually get like they can give you a launch pad, but then like learning on your own without any mentor support, I can understand it's equally hard. But with UET, we have a updated curriculum in place, and since we'll be working more on the real life project, you would actually like I mean you could actually know like what are we working upon, I mean how to work upon on a real life project, and what challenges do we actually face in general. Because in theory, the theory does not take into account the challenges we face, but a real life project will take into account all of the challenges that we will face. And therefore it's always beneficial to have a real life project in place than having like a fixed curriculum and fixed module. And then like what happens in case of a competitors is that like once your course is complete, they will give you a certificate that you have done that course, and everything just ends over there. However, it's not the case with University of Emerging Technology. As I've already mentioned, we have a career prep support, and we have an internship opportunity that we provide to all learners after completion of our course. So we have some industry partners, and everyone who completes this course successfully will get a chance to intern with our industry partner. And as you all know, like again, like while you're doing an internship, you'll be working on some real life project. So again, real life project helps you to like simulate your learned concepts better. Like we have already discussed what the benefits of real life project are. So maybe in case of a competitors, you have to search these internships manually, which I believe is like a hard task, keeping in mind the competitors, like the job market that is in place nowadays. But with UET, like you will be assured of an internship at the end of this internship program, and like maybe in the internship you can get to know a lot more, because you'll be working directly with those who are in the industry. So these are the major benefits of choosing UET over our competitors. And now I will just give you a basic hint of what like University of Emerging Technology is. So we are an edtech organization, and we have our headquarters in the Silicon Valley, California, USA. So Silicon Valley is also the hub of all these tech giants. And so you can actually be quite assured that we are using the best practices in place, and we will give you a flawless learning experience. So then we have our partnership with Emerging Tech Foundation. Like Emerging Tech Foundation is led by like renowned academicians, and they have actually set our curriculum and certifications. So as I've already told, in like the Emerging Tech Foundations, so the people who lead Emerging Tech Foundations are like the people with over like 15-20 years of industry experience, and they have been in this field for a quite long time, so they know like what is the best for our students. So they have set this curriculum and our certifications in place, so you are quite assured that you are in the safe hands. Then like we have a mission which is known as E5 mission, which is all about educate, empower, enlighten, engagement, and evangelize. So like these are the 5E that we have in place. So like educate is like we want to educate you, empower is by education, we are empowering you for your career good. Enlighten is all about knowledge. Engagement is like we are actually keeping you engaged while learning. So the E5 mission actually talks about everything. Like these are the core values on which University of Emerging Technologies mainly focused on. And as I've already discussed, we already offer internship and short-term courses with no prior coding experience to our students, so that you can actually work on real life projects. So we have already have a good discussion on this, so I won't explain this point over here, because I hope you are now aware of what I'm trying to speak. And I can assure you that at the end of this 5-week course, so you will possess a job ready skills with the required practical knowledge. All right. And now how does this program work? So I've already told you we have a 50, like 5 weeks as in 50 hours, which converts to 50 hours of online live training by industry experts. And then like after completion of every module, we have quizzes and module tests. So like so this actually helps you to learn the or reiterate the learned knowledge of every module. So maybe like let's say like this can actually give you feedback in real time. Let's suppose you not perform very well in some module, so you need to go back to that module and revise that again and maybe work on that more. So in that way you are actually updated on what is happening and your weak and strong points. And then like I've already told you that we use our live labs, that is our personalized machines for implementation, and we get to work on like with industry experts like while we are doing internships. So everything is sorted in this place. And then like once you complete this internship, like you also get an internship completion certificate by our like industry partner. So like you could put this on your LinkedIn and maybe people will come to know about it. Like there's a good chance that they might offer you a job offer based on your previous experience. So everything is good in this way as well. So that is all about University of Emerging Technology. And now brief about me. So my name is Anubhav Sanyal, and I'm a design software engineer at ST Microelectronics. So like I've been in the field of machine learning for about like last 3 years now. Like I'm also a official TensorFlow certified machine learning developer. So what that means is I do know something about machine learning. I mean, something about machine learning is that I do know machine learning to a good extent, and having taught thousands of students, so I can guide you better in this direction. Like I have seen my students performing very well in the field of machine learning since I've been in this like role for past 3 2.5 years now basically. But anyways, like I have seen my students performing well in machine learning, and I've been active on Kaggle and Hacker, so doing a lot of machine learning challenges. So I mean, I keep myself updated with machine learning, and this is what I like to do like in my free time. Like I like crunching data. So maybe like once you have completed machine learning and if you get interest, you will be like me. I mean, you would like to crunch in data every time you see a particular data set, and this is what gives me adrenaline rush as well. So I will just stop my introduction over here. Like this will come to know while we are in the course. And now like let's get to the main point. Like why should we choose machine learning? So a very important point, the average salary of machine learning engineer in United States is around $1,20,000 per year. So a machine learning engineer in US makes about $1,20,000, like which is frankly a lot considering somewhere like a beginner in the software industry in US makes about 95K a year, and in the case of machine learning it's about 120K while you're just starting out. And that would actually increase like once you have 2 to 4 years experience in place. So 1,20,000, it's a good salary to start with in United States. And like machine learning is now almost rated to be worth $31 billion by 2024, and that means it has an annual growth rate of 40% over the 6 year period. So 40% over the 6 year period, like it's a tremendous growth. I mean, growing at around 6.5% an year. So you can understand like what job opportunities are there in place. Like there are many fields which are actually seeing a negative growth these days, but machine learning on the other hand is seeing a like positive 6% growth. So, and it's quite understandable because like especially after the pandemic, when every one of us have been stuck at home, we have been using internet 24/7, and like stuck on our laptops and doing all of this stuff. What that means is like there is a lot of data in place. Like just to give you and like understanding, so YouTube alone in a minute produces about some like 3 to 4 terabytes of data in 1 minute. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but you could actually get an idea of what I'm trying to speak. So such a big data in such a small amount, all of these data needs to be analyzed, so you can actually understand like why machine learning is growing at such a tremendous place, right? So there are good job opportunities in place, like if you are choosing machine learning. And then the point is actually the same, like machine learning like has almost jumped over 75% over like last 4 years, and like it's always a growing field. So it's, as I've already told you, it's a solid choice for a high paying career that will be in demand like for decades to come, because internet is not going away, and since internet is not going away anywhere, there will be data, and when there will be data, there will be the role of machine learning and data scientists and all of that. Like there will be the role of like experts related to artificial intelligence. So machine learning is a subclass of artificial intelligence, but anyhow, like there will be the role of artificial intelligence in place. So you can understand that like this career, even with automation, this won't be going anywhere. Other career fields may be in doubt with automation to come, whether they will be able to survive or not. But then this field of AI and machine learning will continue to grow in years to come. Now let us discuss about some certificate details, because I know this is what you all have been looking for too. So we have basically 3 certifications in place. So these are the course completion certificate, the internship completion certificate, and 2 aces of a batch. So the course completion certificate is like given to you by Emerging Tech Foundation, and like everyone who completes the course and quizzes and modules will actually get the course curricular course completion certificate, irrespective of what your performance is. Obviously, it's not that you need to perform bad, but the better you perform, it's always good. But irrespective of how your performance is, you will get a course completion certificate. So an additional certificate is always a certificate is always assured from our end, right? And then whoever completes this course will also get a chance to like do an internship with our industry partners, which is Data Magnum at the present. So like in Data Magnum, you will be working on real life project with our industry partners, and once you have successfully completed the project, so the industry certification will be like in our, like you will get an industry certification certified by Data Magnum. So this certificate will help you in your future career prospects. And then you have like 2 aces of a batch certificate. So the exceptional performers, like those who are at the top while with the completion of the course, they will be awarded with a like 2 aces of a batch award. So 2 aces of a batch means the top 1 and 2, provided the batch size is of 30 or so, will actually get the certificate of 2 aces of a batch. So the top 2 students will actually get this certificate, and this is not only a certificate, but they also will get a chance to have a full-time job opportunity with Data Magnum, who are our industry partner at present. So you already have if you perform good, it's always beneficial for you, because you might, who knows, you might get a chance to work with Data Magnum in future as a full-time employee. Otherwise, like you might work them with an intern, it's always assured, but maybe you can get a full-time job opportunity with them as well. Yeah, so let's just move on to our next slides then. I hope there are no doubts still here. So we will now come to what is machine learning. Yes, so this has been, I know what a lot of people have been looking for, like what machine learning is, because as I saw in the very beginner session, I saw that none of them, like most of you don't have a knowledge of what machine learning is. So maybe we need to discuss on what machine learning is and how, like, why it has gained so much of traction in the last a decade or so. So what do you mean by machine learning, right? So like when we talk about machine learning, we generally talk about, like, it's a combination of two words. It's machine and learning, right? So what happens is that technically your machines are not smart by default. So just take the case of your computer itself. So we all know that CPU is the brain of the computer, right? So I'm talking about CPU in here. So CPU is not smart by default. Yes, it can do tasks, but it will only do the task when the user has prompted it to do so. So let's suppose, like, when I click on the command for shut off the PC, then only the PC will shut down. It won't happen that the PC will shut down in general automatically, right? Or maybe like when I have actually like done the command for copy and then paste, then only it will happen. It will not happen automatically. So machines are not smart by general. So let's just reverse the scenario and think, like, what does it mean by smart machines? So let's suppose, like, I have a smart CPU. Smart CPU as a term does not exist. I'm just trying to give an example. So let's suppose I have a smart CPU. So the smart CPU, like, acknowledges the fact that I shut down my PC every day at 10 p.m. Right? But till now, what I've been doing was, like, I was just manually shutting it down at 10 p.m. But now my PC knows that, okay, this person will actually shut down his PC at 10 p.m. and start his PC by 9 a.m. sharp. Right. So what my CPU will do is that it will automatically shut down the PC for me at 10 p.m. and it will just turn on the PC and, like, for me at 9 a.m. sharp. Right. So you understand what the smart exactly means, like what our smartphone exactly does. Like, smartphone is a smart thing. So not exactly smart, that's a different naming convention, to be honest, but to understand what smart is, like when you could actually get it done something without getting it explicitly programmed. So typically what happens are, machine is not smart by default. You need to explicitly program them to gain the required output, right? So now, like, I mean, if you do write a program in your CPU to give it a command to actually shut down your PC at 10 p.m., it will do that. It's not smart, but you're explicitly programming it to do that. So, like, this is the case with normal conventions as well. So, like, when we're writing normal codes, we do that using if-else statement. But what machine learning does is that it automatically improves from their mistakes, just like humans do, and improve over time. So like machine learning has this capacity to, like, just improve on their own, like just by seeing the things around that they can like improve their themselves, right? So just give you a very, like, practical statement. Like, let's suppose you have a small baby, right? So babies are very naughty by default, so maybe they don't know how to walk, but they know only to crawl. So maybe, like, when they're crawling, they don't know where the stuffs are lying. So the first time it might happen that they might bump their head with the bed or maybe with the TV set or something. But once they have bumped, they know that, okay, like, on bumping this, I'm getting a pain. So next time I have to be aware, right? Like, I have to be aware that, okay, I need not bump over here. So it is how, like, they are learning. Similarly, they learn to walk by themselves. They learn to eat by themselves, like just by having a little mentorship in place. So machine learning is like what it does as well. So machine learning is something that like machines could learn from their mistakes and improve over time, just as humans do. So there's a definition given by IBM as well. I will just read out this definition. Like, IBM defines machine learning as a branch of artificial intelligence focused on building application. So I've already told you, like, machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence. It's a subset of artificial intelligence, like, and it focuses on building applications that learn from data. Obviously, we need to have a data set in place, and like they learn from the data. Like, we should have a data set in place, and they learn from the data and improve their accuracy over time. So they improve their accuracy after making mistakes and learning, get to know, okay, this is right, this is wrong, and then, like, without being explicitly programmed to do so. So we are not telling that explicitly that they are wrong. They themselves know that they are wrong and they need to improve, and then they improve. So this is what machine learning in general is all about. So then why should we use Python for AI and machine learning? So machine learning can be done in R, it can be done in JavaScript as well, but why are we using Python for machine learning only? So Python has a very gentle learning curve, so it's comparatively easier for beginners to understand and start working with. Like like it's a very beginner friendly language that I have already told you. So Python feels like more about reading an English instructions rather than anything else. So like you can actually get to understand like what exactly is happening behind the scenes. It does not use any complex terms like system.println.out or whatever that is in Java, and cout or cin in C++. So this just uses like words like print and all of that stuff, so you could actually understand like what is happening. Then there's a great ecosystem in place for Python. So Python has a lot of inbuilt machine learning libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Keras, Matplotlib, TensorFlow, Caffe, PyTorch, like all of these are built on the top of Python. So machine learning like becomes easier because you don't have to like code these libraries. So libraries are something that already makes your life easier because they have coded certain parts of it, and you just have to fit the input and get the required output. So you don't have to code all of these things. Like maybe they're not like there's a fact that they're not so good libraries of machine learning available in R or JavaScript. So like Python has a lot of inbuilt libraries. So I mean, you could actually get started very easily. Then again, Python is platform independent, so it works on all the major operating systems like Windows, Linux, Mac OS, etc. So this means that even like we have a code and we execute it on Windows, it's the same way it will execute in Mac OS as well, because like that will be using the same interpreter and all of that kind of stuff. So if you know about Java, so like the thing does not happen with Java as far as I know, but Python, like it's like platform independent, so you can work like with it in all of the major operating systems, so you won't face a hurdle in that. Then Python has a great developer community in place. So like being one of the very popular programming language, so it has a like the development community of Python is huge and is like growing every day. So that means if you're stuck anywhere, you are just Google search away to get the probable solution to this problem. I mean, it's you can just like search your query and within seconds you will get the answer, because it's a good chance that it has already been answered. Then data visualization options. So Python has some libraries called Matplotlib and Seaborn. So I won't go into exact details because ED and all of that stuff is very like it's not very easy to understand at this point in time. Basically, EDA stands for exploratory data analysis, but you might have seen data scientists plotting some beautiful curves, graphs, bar charts over there, and so Python actually helps that to like build this thing up very easily. So yeah, I mean, extensive data visualization options in place is what helps you to visualize the data set even better. Then I will discuss upon the class schedule and week-wise plan. So you can go through the class schedule once, maybe you can screenshot this and just have a look. So the first week is all about the basic introduction, like it's the introduction to machine learning, like what machine learning is, what different tools we use, then supervised machine learning versus unsupervised machine learning, the theory part I'm just talking about. Then different sources to extract the data, then making data frames, and then I mean the first week majorly like convolves with the very basics of Python and machine learning in general, because like I understand like many of us are beginners and don't have that required knowledge. So we will have a very brief, I mean not brief, but very um, easy theory in place, easy theory and practice in place, just to get us comfortable with the concepts of machine learning. And once we are done, we'll be moving on to week 2, where we'll be discussing about supervised machine learning algorithms, which are linear regression, logistic regression, naive Bayes, decision trees, and random forest. So all of these algorithms will be discussed in a day and explained with the help of the coding examples. So what we will do is like we will actually uh, like what will happen is that like we will cover all of these algorithms, like one algorithm every day. So we'll first cover the theory, then we will taken up certain doubts, like what the doubts are regarding theory, and then we will take up a very mini project, and then we will like use that particular algorithm to solve that mini project. So this is how our week 2 will actually be spent. Don't worry if you don't know about what linear regression, logistic regression, naive Bayes, all of these things are. We'll discuss more on this once we are in our course. So once we are done with week 2, we are on to week 3. We will solve some more practice problems on supervised machine learning algorithms, like these 5 algorithms that we have already discussed. And then we move on to our next topic, which is unsupervised machine learning algorithm. We will generally discuss upon k-means, and we will also solve a problem related to k-means. So this basically ends your like week 2 and week 3 basically is the major part of machine learning, because we'll be discussing the supervised and the unsupervised machine learning algorithm over there. So I mean, this is the major part. And then week 4 is all about increasing the accuracy of machine learning, getting to know the models of machine learning better. That means we'll be dealing with hyperparameter tuning, model evaluation, and maybe model evaluation and improvement as well. And if time permits, we can also have like some newly built models discussion in place, like XGBoost, CADBoost, and AdaBoost. So these like helps you to win machine learning like contest if you're giving any, because these are like boosting algorithms, so that helps you to boost your score. As I've told, do not worry about these specific terms in general, because I'm just giving you an overview. Everything will be discussed once we are in the course. So like in case you want to know what these means, maybe you could actually like have a Google search and see what that means. But I will suggest you don't worry about this at this point in time. And then like once week 4 is done, we have majorly covered all the portions related to machine learning, and week 5 will be building on our major project. So like we will doing the complete thing, like right from EDA to your feature extraction to your manipulation of the data, then having machine learning algorithms in place, and then so on, like so forth. The complete what we generally do while building a project in our industry. So we'll having a look at this concept in week 5. Okay, so I guess everything is clear till now, because we don't have any doubts. Do we have any doubts in this point in time? I guess we don't. So let us move to our demonstration of like learning management system. So like as soon as you complete the enrollment process, so you will receive your user ID and password for your learning management system. And in the learning management system, you can find all the course material, assignments, and recorded live lectures. So even if you miss any lecture, so you could actually go back and have a look at the live lecture that has been recorded. There's also a discussion forum in place where like you could ask your doubts, and the TAs and the other students can solve your doubt. So it's more of an interactive kind of like a discussion session where like messages can be read or posted by anyone like who has access to that learning management system, right? So I hope you get like this is more of like a content management system, like where like everything of your content is stored in one place. Okay. So discussion is like you can post your doubts and get your doubts sorted from your TAs, or maybe the students can help you as well. All right. Also, we have a Telegram channel, as I've already told you, where you could post your doubts, and our TAs will help the students understand like where they're doing wrong, and what they need to do while they improve, like what they need to do to improve, and all that. So I mean, this will also like maybe the TAs can also share some important resources like videos, like webinar details, graphs, pie charts. I mean, you understand, like more of an interactive kind of group where we'll ask questions, TAs will answer that, and like get everything sorted, right? So enough of the talking. As they say, like talk is cheap, show me the code. So I will give you a live demo of what coding in machine learning looks like. So what this means is like I already have downloaded a data set, and the data set is called Iris. So like that's like we will complete this in about 10-12 minutes, like not more than 10 minutes. So this means that I will be just going through the concepts, but this will tell you, okay, like this is what machine learning looks like. So like this will give you an idea of what machine learning is, and what problems do we face in machine learning. I mean, what problems do we solve in machine learning, and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's get started on this, like without wasting much of our time. So what I will do is that I will open up my Jupyter notebook. So in case you are not aware of what Jupyter Notebook is, so Jupyter Notebook is like an IDE for your for things related to machine learning or for coding things related to machine learning, right? So like it has all the, like, I guess you might have heard something about VS Code or maybe Sublime Text, right? So you could see that this is an alternative to all of this. So very, like, very easy to get started and very interactive IDE for machine learning. And I suggest you all of you should download this machine learning, this Jupyter Notebook thing. So like this can help you to simulate the concepts better. Not right now, I mean when you are in the course. Here I'm just giving you a demo. So like what actually happens in machine learning, right? Like let's just discuss on what machine learning is. So in machine learning, you do have some definite inputs in place, and based upon the inputs, you are asked to predict what the output will look like, right? So just again reiterating the fact that you have some basic inputs in place, that you have some inputs, like it's a generally it's an input output system. So there is a black box. In one side of the black box you put in input, and at one side of the black box you actually get the output. So what, like, now you will tell me why have I said black box? So black box because you don't know what the machine learning algorithms is doing behind the back. Matlab, we don't want to know what it is doing. It's all that, like it's giving us the output. It's all that is required. So we don't need to know what the like algorithms run in the backend, but we are just telling the machine learning libraries to fire at this particular algorithm and give us the result. So in machine learning, you will always have an input and you will always have an output. So output is also known as target variable. So I might use that word interchangeably. So please like get that sure, like these two are the same things. And now the output of the target variable can be a regression based problem or can be a classification based problem. So regression is when you are predicting like a continuous data points. So I hope you already know about what regression is. So regression is all about predicting the data points in a linear fashion, or like predicting that continuous data value points. In case you don't know, it's just a Google search away, and maybe you could do this after this lecture. And classification is all about classifying the output into one of the many categories that we have. So maybe this output might belong to category 1, this might belong to category 2, and so forth. So I hope I have given you a basic overview of what machine learning is. So let's just like get started without wasting much of our time on this. So what I will do is that I have opened up my Jupyter notebook and I'm writing a markdown over here right now. So markdown is not a coding portion. It's just like to give you like it's just type of comments, but it's called a markdown, and it is not like ran. I mean, it's not executed. It's just a text thing. Right. So the first thing first, I'm just importing the required libraries which are required in machine learning. So it's just a markdown. So this won't be like executed. So don't worry about that. And now we have three basic machine learning libraries that we require. So it's NumPy, Pandas, and like Matplotlib. I hope I have already told you about them while we were discussing about the ecosystem part. Yeah. So like NumPy basically deals with all of these mathematical operations, right? It's like let's say you want to get the mean of the data set, or maybe the mode of the data set, and so on and so forth. So mathematical operations are all taken care by NumPy. Pandas is more about like manipulations related to data frame or data set in general. So Pandas help you to read the data set and like make manipulations on it and all of that stuff. And Matplotlib is all about like plotting the graphs that we have already discussed, like when we were talking about the that extensive visualization part in why Python is a good choice for machine learning. So don't worry about this. I'm just giving you a brief overview. We will discuss more about this on the lectures. So now we have to read the data set, right? So I already have this data set stored on my system. So for this, like Pandas gives me a like option of a library or a function which is known as read underscore CSV. So CSV is a comma separated file. It's more or less similar to that of Excel, but differs in Excel in a different way that it only contains comma separated values. So I will just read this file, which is called pd.read_csv, and I need to pass in the path, like where my dataset is actually stored. So I will just like give the path to my dataset where it is actually stored. I will copy that path and like just get back over here. So my dataset is stored in a folder name as UET, and the name of the dataset is called iris. So I will just copy this path over here and get back over here. And always remember, like when you're working with Windows and machine learning, always change the backslash to /, because they are not compatible in Windows and Jupyter notebooks. So the name of the file was iris.csv. So let's just execute this code over here, right? And if I print this data over here, what you would see is that like I do have some features. Features are this, like features are all of these things over here, like these 4 columns of the features, which are our input. So input is also called the features and output is also called the target variable. So what I have in place is that given certain set of features, let's just predict in what category our flower will belong to. So this dataset is called the iris dataset, and like iris dataset actually what does it deals with is like based on the features received, it classifies it into different categories of flowers. So if you see this iris centosa and iris virginica and all of this thing, these are different features. These are different target variables, or these are the different outputs. So given a set of these different inputs like sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width, we have to predict on what category like does our flower will fall into given an unknown like set of these features. So this is what we call the model training. Model training, because we already know what is the required output, but while we're testing our model, we won't know the required output and we are required to predict that thing. So this particular thing like is known as model training part. All right. So like this is called the model training part, and model testing is like when you have an unknown data set. I mean, like when you have a unknown set of features and you want to predict that on that particular thing, like what the required output would be. So just to give an example, like let's say like I have something like 1, 2, 0.5 and 7, but I don't know what the required output of this is. So this is my input, and based on this, I would actually predict something. This is known as the model testing part, or basically the model prediction part. Actually, it's not testing in general, but we are actually predicting it. Like, okay, this is what like our output would look like. So model testing is a bit different, but nevertheless, not going into so much details. So we have like these 4 are our features. These 4 are our features, and this 5th one is our target output. So now, as I've already told you, machine learning requires to have this target output and input in different variables. So I will just define a variable and I will call it as x, and I will just say data is equal to data.ilog, and all rows, and it will be, so yeah, so what data.ilog will do is that it like I want to get the contents from this to this, I mean from sepal length centimeter to petal width centimeter in one separate data frame, and these species in another separate data frame. All right, so this data.ilog will help me to achieve that. So what I will do is I will just put something like data.ilog all rows and first column to third column, and y is equals to data.ilog just a second, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be actually 4. I will just tell you what it does. Just let me code this part up once, and this would be 5. And meanwhile, if I print this, so if you see, I have got what I wanted. Okay, sepal in centimeters, sepal with centimeter. Okay, it will be something like this. Yeah. So what I have done basically is this data.ilog will like give the command to actually separate our data from first row to fourth row. So this particular colon thing refers to all columns, so that it means that we will be taking all rows. Sorry, this particular colon refers to all rows. That means we'll be taking all rows, but we will only selecting columns from index number 1 to index number 4. So this is the index number 0, this is the index number 1, this is the index number 2, this is the index number 3, and this is the index number 4. So I'm just used like, okay, separate all the rows from index number 1 to index number 4. So 5 is not calculated. I mean, when you are using 5, like when you are using the end value in ilog, so that end value is not calculated. So it will only use from 1 to 4. I mean, only 1 to 4 index columns will only get presented over here. 5 will not be a part of this particular thing, right? And similarly, like y is equal to data.ilog, all rows and fifth column. So this is our fifth column. So like all rows, we will take all rows for this fifth column, and like we will have the fifth column in place. So because this is only a single value, so like all our fifth columns will be present over here. Like all the rows of our fifth column will be present over here. So in case, let's suppose it was like 1 to 4, if you're confused. So all rows and 1 to 4th column will only take columns from index number 1 to 3, because for the end variable in the ilog part is not calculated, yeah, or is not like used. So always be remember that you give one extra, like when you are working with the end variable in ilog part, and when there are two variables in place for the second parameter. I hope I am like clear over here. So this is the this is the input part that we have, and meanwhile, if we have a look at the output, this is the output part that we have. So you can see like it's iris setosa, iris, like the output part that we have received over here, right? And now our goal is to actually use some machine learning algorithms to actually predict, given a set of given a set of inputs, what the category of the flower would be. So for that, like I'm using one of the very simplified machine learning algorithm, which is called logistic regression. Now, don't ask me at this point on what logistic regression is and how does it exactly work and what the mathematics behind it exactly is. So, I mean, this is what we will discuss in the course, but just I'm trying to give you a basic idea of what it is. So it's a classification library, and this is what I can tell you at this point in time. So from sklearn.linear model import logistic regression. And once I've imported this, like I would need to have a object built in place. So logistic regression, something like this. And then what I will do is I will just use lr.fit, and I will pass in the input and the output. So this this lr.fit will basically like tell the machine learning model to actually like take the data set, like take the input, and the x is the input and the y is the output, and like learn from the features, like whatever it would learn from the features, learn that. So just do that over here, and as you can see, like I've got the output that logistic regression is all fit. So what that means is I have like our machine learning algorithm has learned the features of the this particular data set, and now given a set of like inputs, like this could basically tell me like what my output will look like. So maybe I could just give an example. So let's suppose I give you a temp data, like just for testing this thing out. So temp data is equals to let's just have a look at how the numbers look like. So let's say I give it like something like 4.7 and 3.2, 1.4, 3.2, 1.4, and 0.3. So this is a random number that have taken place. I don't know if these numbers exist or not, but based on this feature, can my machine learning model predict like what the category of the flower will look like? It surely will. Let us look how it does that. So I will just run this code over here, which is called temp data. Yeah, temp data. So we have already made temp data our variable, and now based on the feature points that we have actually randomly made, I want to predict what my output will be. So predicting the output is very simpler in machine learning. I just have to use lr.predict button over here. I mean lr.predict function over here, and this lr.predict function will take in only one argument, which is called temp data. Because it's a predict function, like because it's a predicate function, it won't have the y variable. It only will have the x variable in place. And in our case, this x variable is this complete like temp data. But because like I'm passing this temp data again in a list, this is because like our model has been trained on a 2D data set, as in this thing was a list of lists or a matrix kind of data structure. So we would have to get the output in the same way. So because this was a 1D list, what I've done is I've actually used 2D list over here, or a list of list over here, right? And now I will just have to like use lr.predict and pass temp data over here. So based on the input received, it will actually predict what my data point would actually look like. So let me just like run this piece of code. And as you can see, this is iris setosa, what my like output looks like. It's not necessarily that it is correct, but this is what our machine learning model has learned from. So this is how we generally predict in machine learning. So I hope you are clear with what machine learning is and how do we exactly manipulate the challenges in machine learning and what does it look like. So I hope like everything is clear. And in case you are not, I know like we have covered a lot of concepts in this machine learning part, and there might be a few things that we might have missed or that you might not have got a hang around. Don't worry, when we will meet in the course, I will explain you all of these things in pretty details. And our live coding demo is done. And now we are at the last slide, which tells us how to enroll yourself. So enrolling is very simple. So just visit our website, which is www.emergingtechuniversity, and choose your desired program and click on the enroll now button, and you will be enrolled. And in case you have some certain doubts, so please feel free to reach us. These below mentioned WhatsApp numbers. You can either call or WhatsApp us, or maybe you could also drop in an email to us, and we will get back to you at the earliest. All right. So I hope to see you in the course the next time we meet. I hope you all enjoyed this session. So we welcome you to the world of University of Emerging Technologies. See you the next time ahead. Goodbye.